So my question to you, while Simon and I are going to have this sort of fireside chat, is what tools have you got to make you superhuman? What tools have you got in your arsenal at your desk on Monday morning to enable you to deal with the changes that are certainly going to affect your employment, your company's profitability? What tools do you have? Simon, as we introduced him earlier on, lives abroad, works across India, works across Europe, and is very busy in the United Kingdom. So his experience is what we're going to call on now. Simon, what do you notice will happen or is happening to organizations that have adopted AI versus those that are still on the fence looking from the outside in?
Yeah, great question. I mean, the use cases for AI are just tremendous, quite unbelievable. I mean, it's almost a day doesn't go by when I go, wow, yeah? We could have this seminar for the rest of the day, just me going through use case over use case over use case. But I would say for everyone that I meet is using a user interface to help with productivity or quality. Okay? For me, I'm an office worker. I'm not a scientist, an engineer, a pharmacist. I'm an office worker. But I probably use it 5 or 6 times a day for helping me to improve the quality of an email, to help me. Actually, I almost don't know what to say. I don't know what to write. So I'll just put a couple of words in there and say, please turn this into a polite email about this subject. And it'll draft something for me. Yeah? Or I'm writing a proposal or something for the board. Again, I kind of write it. And actually nowadays I put minimum effort into it. Yeah? Whereas I used to spend minutes, hours maybe writing something of quality, I don't bother anymore. It's almost become lazy. I just put keywords, key phrases, and ask it to work for me. So for me, for any office worker, and that's the base use case. It's just one use case. It's productivity, quality.
And the competitive edge, Simon, company A using it on a day-to-day basis, maybe 50% of their staff complement using it, versus company on the outside looking in. In your global experience, which we don't have because we have myopically focused on Zim, what are you seeing in Europe and across the rest of the world? And what do you think the net effect of that will be? And I am asking you to look into the crystal ball, but to some extent, and also to share on your experience.
Well, again, I think I've probably danger of repeating that competitive edge is typically productivity quality. Yeah, I'm seeing it all the time. But my wife is a magistrate, a judge. Yeah, and they're using it in the courts. Yeah, to get to better decisions, to understand the law better, use case, past laws. And so what's she able to do? She's making decisions faster, so they're seeing more cases through the court, but she's getting to better quality of data in her decisions.
If we overlay that with what we spoke about earlier, the rate of change, how long do you think companies have got before they can, how long do you think they've got if they don't use AI on a daily basis? Speculating, obviously.
Yeah, speculating. It's clearly going to change on industry, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. But I'll just do a couple of it. Legal industry in the UK, they are dropping jobs like nobody's business. Okay,
Really?
We don't need the number of lawyers that we have today. In fact, I was speaking to a gentleman, he's no longer here. Sorry, I don't know his name. Earlier, he is writing draft legal documents in an AI assistant. I was saying I do the opposite, actually. I get lots of legal documents sent to me, and rather than spend an hour sitting there trying to read all of them and every little term and condition, I chuck it into Relax AI and say, give me the top 10 risks of signing this contract. Yeah? So it's kind of the opposite to what he was doing. Sorry, quickly repeat your question because I had another use case.
How long?
How long? So, thank you. So that lawyers losing jobs, in London, across the world, but I was seeing it in London. We as a company, a large part of the company is software developers. We're developing a cloud platform. So we've got tons of software developers. Today, about 20% of our code is written in AI. Okay? We think that will get to about 70%. We are predicting less investment in developers next year. We've been going through our budgets, and roles that were going to be available last year are no longer available because we write the code in AI. Okay?
So
I used a really good example last night with you. We've just redone our brand. So that Civo brand you saw this morning, all brand new. Different logo, different colors, different messaging. Everything was different last week. Does anyone know what Figma is? You heard of Figma? It's a few hands up. So allow me simplistically, I'm going to make this really easy and you're going to go, it's more than that. But it's like Photoshop. You can design your user interfaces or your website. So what the home page is going to look like, what the about page is like. I'm making it simple, aren't I? Okay. Ultimately, again, I'm making it simple. It produces JPEGs that you can send around to say that's what the home page will look like. Well, last week, about a month ago, we said, how are we going to code our new website? And actually, we worked out we didn't have enough resource in the company. We didn't have enough people to do this. So we said, we'll use WordPress. And then loads of people went, no, we're not using WordPress. That's not what we're doing. So actually, we used AI effectively to import these JPEGs of a homepage and a about page and a product page, import them, AI cut up the pages, cut up the graphics, cut up the titles, and coded the whole website using AI. And we were doing about a page an hour using AI. So feed it into AI, get the code back out, fix the code, because it's not perfect, but about an hour a page. So again, productivity, loss of jobs in some areas, or retraining of skills. It's not all about loss of jobs. It's look for the skill that AI today won't be doing.
Tinashe, you and your team developed that Starling portal using some AI tools that we spoke about in December, over Christmas actually. What percentage of our code was AI generated for that portal?
80%.
80. Is he worried about losing his job? No, no. I'll tell you. You can answer it actually. Are you worried about losing your job?
No, I'm not worried.
Yeah. But you know what? He's not worried about losing his job because his name is Tinashe. But, and he is who he is. So AI will not replace people like him.
Yeah.
But AI will replace people who can be replaced. And that's a very, very important saying. AI will replace who it can replace, who are replaceable. Simon speaks about lawyers, absolutely, without a doubt, because you know what? That industry has remained unchanged for decades. And so they're at risk. Software developers who are not at the bleeding edge of using AI and coming up with creative ideas like Tinashe will not be replaced. They'll use these AI tools to produce software platforms quicker and easier. We had a number of Frampol events this year, Simon. One of them was called Beyond the Wire. Niku was there. And we coined, when we presented some of our AI solutions, we said we gave how long and how much each of these solutions would how long it'll take to implement and how much they would cost. And you know what? The cost of producing is coming down and the time to market is shorter. It's not measured in months. It's measured in, look at Simon. They take who designed the JPEGs? Was that your designer? Like
A designer, yeah.
an internal designer, not even a web developer, designed a website. They then reverse engineered that into HTML and designed a website from it. It's incredible. So organizations that are still going to web developers to do things that take weeks and months and cost thousands of pounds, or Coil, they're in a huge amount of trouble.
You've got to remember of the pace of technology. What AI is today is going to be very different in 6 months' time, in 3 years' time. What it's capable of doing is going to be vastly different, okay? And so don't get constrained by going on to one of these AI assistants, trying it and going, that's not very good, is it? Or that's not going to replace me, or that's not going to be used by me. It will change rapidly, and goes back to Neil's comment about creativity, inquiring minds. That's how we will really benefit from it.
I used the term numerous times today, superhuman. See, if we go back, for those who remember Superman or Spider-Man or even Iron Man, inside that suit is still monochaijo. That is still a man or a woman, superwoman. Let's not forget the woman here, because this is the time of equality, mind you. But
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Inside that suit of Wonder Woman is still a woman. They have not been replaced by a, what do they call it? A robot. They're not robots. They're still flesh, but they made super strong. They made superheroes by the use of those tools, or in the analogy of those superheroes with the use of the suit. So you're quite right. The human touch is so important. So much so that when my sales team at Frampol send out an email to a client about a quote, I manually, at the moment, it will be automated, but I manually send a follow-up email to them from my desk. Because the human touch is so essential. So it's about making us superhuman, not replacing us.
Absolutely.
And the tool, the message that I've been trying to push into our team at Frampol for the last year or so is that this year will be very disorientating. When I talk to CEOs of companies that have been going for almost 80 years in this market, I say to them, and you know what? You know how the meetings start? The meetings start from a CEO who's been running a business for a number of decades. It starts like this, and he's slouching in the chair. Very apprehensive. He's resistant to change. The book, Who Moved My Cheese, he's probably him or her. He's reluctant. But when I say that, look, we're not replacing you. What we're doing is making you superhuman. We're giving you the tools that you will need to survive the next 12, 24, 36, 48, 60 months. Because I'm telling you, by the time 2030 comes, the economic landscape is going to look very different to what it is today.
And I've got a very good use case, because I agree with you, and absolutely, Neil. It's about making the professional the superhuman. So we had a conference, was it this week or last week? This week in London. And we had, anyone heard of University of Oxford? Yeah, you recognise the name? So University of Oxford, very big hospital, London, one of the big research hospitals. And we had on stage one of our customers, Professor Lee, and he is a cancer specialist. And he was showing how AI was helping him understand and enhance CAT scans. Okay, so brain scan. So that AI is not going to replace him. Instead, he is having information that he is able to better diagnose a tumor faster, with more precision. And that's how AI is helping, making him superhuman, rather than trying to, go on and, what do I do with someone with a tumor? One of the big problems today is we're all sitting there using one of the big tech AI assistants, and they are training on that data. Yeah. So your IP, they are training on it. And I actually, again, I don't think I've used it today. I've used it several times this week. I was with Airbus in France recently, and group of engineers, and we took a photograph of a wing over an Airbus. And we put it into Relax AI and said, could you show me the airflow over an A320 wing? And it came up there, and they were aeronautical engineers. They're like, wow, that is amazing. Couldn't believe what we'd done. And they said, yeah, we do that all the time anyway. We use whatever product they use. I said, yes, but by doing that, Boeing is benefiting from your data. You are training the model, and Boeing are using that. And they suddenly went, whoa, we've never thought about that. Yeah? What I've been presenting today is the belief in data sovereignty and privacy. Okay? So sovereignty means the data resides in country. It's for the benefit of the country, not the benefit of America or any other country. And then privacy means that you can decide, will I allow this data, will I allow my data to train the model or not? And you can actually say, stop, I want my data private, do not train your model on this. Okay? And that is very uncommon. It's not impossible, but it's close to impossible to do on the big tech models. So the answer is, we believe in protecting your IP. Your IP is yours. You need to stay in control of that data. So you probably don't want one of the big tech training on your data. Okay? So the way you can do that is go to a solution like ours that gives you that privacy. If you're really paranoid about it, if you're even questioning our contract and our SLA and what I'm telling you, Frampol can deploy Relax AI into your data center, onto your servers, onto your network, so you know that that data is never leaving the organization and that there's not some other LLM that's benefiting from your data.
I would hazard that the scales tip in the favor of we need to use it. If we're running an organization or a team and we wish to survive in this digital age, I think the scale tips in that direction, as opposed to it tipping in the direction of my data is going to be lost. John, I would hate to break this to anybody who thinks their data is so valuable that if it gets breached, they're going to have some sort of calamity in their business. The reality is, if they don't use AI, they're going to face a far bigger calamity than their data being spilled out into the streets of big tech, because they know it anyway, probably. So data loss, DLP, in terms of IT, maybe JP, IP, I think it's a concern. One should consider it, but it's small. Simon, what do you say? What do you think?
I would totally agree with you. Look, AI is the next, well, we're in it. It's the industrial revolution that we're living through here.
Yeah.
We need to embrace that change and absolutely embrace it here, because it's got some amazing benefits. Of course, it's got some concerns. Absolutely it has, but embrace it. I'm very lucky. I have a job that takes me around the world. I love it. If I was in India here today, almost every person in this room would be an entrepreneur saying, I've got this idea of a new AI startup. And if you talked through their ideas, every one of them, you'd be going, wow, the creativity and the opportunity here is amazing. I encourage you, I've only been here for a few days, but what an amazing country you have, amazing capability. Embrace the entrepreneurship and the creativity. Think how you can use this.
Sure. Simon, often I go down to Cape Town, or I travel in South Africa. Very little travel in Johannesburg, but mostly in Cape Town. And the majority of, I don't drive there, I'll jump in an Uber.
Yeah.
And the majority of the drivers are Zimbabweans. either from Matabeleland or from Harare or the Mashonaland central area, and I can tell in the first second by their name.
Yeah.
And it's just great because I'll jump in the car and I'll immediately speak to them in either in Shona and Ndebele or Ndebele, and their jaw just drops. Like,
Yeah.
what just happened? What kind of a passenger have I just collected? But that's not the story. The story is this, or the point is this, that they have been enabled to run their own business by Uber. And AI now gives us the ability to be masters of our own destiny and not slaves to an industrial revolution which is long gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So I'm adding emphasis to Simon's point. We have got this tool at our disposal. Let's use it and not just wonder what's happened. Let's make use of it and really transform our lives as well as our nations.